As planting season wraps up, farmers are continuing to see input cost rise. That does include diesel fuel, which is used to operate all of their machinery. For today's Indiana Farm Report, I spoke to a local farmer to find out how he's adjusting to the increased diesel prices.
It's a difficult thing to have to deal with.
Increased diesel prices is something Tippecanoe County farmer Kevin Underwood knows all too well.
For instance, I filled up the tractor that runs the planter back here a few days ago, and it wasn't even after a big day of planting. It was a moderately decent day of planting, and 107 gallons of diesel fuel went into the tractor, and with that day's prices, that equated to almost $590 worth of diesel fuel.
And just 1 year ago,
that diesel fuel would have been exactly half of that amount of money to put into the tractor that day.
The president of Indiana Farm Bureau, Randy Crone, says farmers like himself are adjusting to the situation.
This year, I know on our farm, and I know a lot of other farmers are trying to make less trips across the field, but there's still a minimum amount that you're going to do to get the job done.
And that's exactly what Underwood has also been doing.
We've made the decision back some years ago to reduce trips over the field by going to no-till, using a lot of cover crops, so we're reducing some of our herbicide usage.
Both farmers have been able to minimize the amount of diesel fuel they use, but there's only so much of that can be done.
You want to spend the least you can on fuel, you want to burn the least amount, but you also don't want to sacrifice yield or dollars. So there's a balance there.
With the increased diesel prices right now, farmers are also trying to be proactive.
So it's just the game of trying to minimize trips over the field as much as we can, trying to do the proactive thing in terms of pricing diesel fuel ahead of time at a lower price than what we're seeing in the current market. It's those kinds of things that we can do to try to be proactive and try to reduce costs as much as possible.
At this time, planting season has wrapped up for most farmers, but when dealing with the high input costs like diesel fuel, it creates some possible concerns moving forward.
There's a lot of pessimism in terms of looking out, seeing those increases in input costs, and concerns about how are we going to be able to see a way to be able to make a profit as we move forward.
And Lafayette's average diesel price is actually above the state average. According to AAA, Indiana's highest recorded average diesel price is $5.88 a gallon, but the highest average diesel price in Lafayette is $5.91 a gallon.